I'm gonna be the man who wakes up next to you.
Hey guys, Abram here from A Vlogs, and we are back for another review. But this time it's gonna be a bit different. We're gonna be doing more of a first impressions of a show that I've seen a couple of episodes pa lang. Why? Because it's not released all episodes yet, and I'll talk more about it. This is Goosebumps. Now, I won't be giving my final verdict review grade at the end of this video because again, hindi pa talaga complete yung series as of making this. But I wanted to try out making a first impressions of how the show is so far. So let's dive in. Let's talk about Goosebumps. Being a 90s kid, I would go back in grade school now to the library and I would see all of these Goosebumps books. And I recall, I think there were also Goosebumps shows, a TV show also for Goosebumps. Now, this time around, it feels a bit different because here's what I know about Goosebumps: it's a self contained episode or a self contained story. You get that here in this new series as well, but there's an overarching storyline that you follow as well. And that for me is the first thing that made this show very appealing. It made it very interesting because, yes, each episode follows a specific character or a specific item or a specific story, but you have this overarching story with these, like, a group of teenagers who go through similar problems or a similar, like, intertwined yung stories nila. They eventually become friends and whatnot. It does feel a bit familiar to what we've gotten with. I feel like it's similar yung vibe niya and yung feels niya to like Pretty Little Liars, Original Sin, shows like Stranger Things, shows like Riverdale. May ganong feel siya, but it also feels very unique. Everything connects, everything is entangled, which is nice to see. There are a couple of episodes that really stood out for me. I think my favorite, hands down, was the Worms episode. That also dealt with grief and a bit of mental health, and that's what made it a bit interesting because this is a show that I wouldn't necessarily say is for kids, but I wouldn't also say that it's super adult horror type. Like, it feels like it's somewhere safe in the middle, which is nice. It's not too scary, it's not too horrifying, but it's also surprising that I felt like Goosebumps was packaged like a kid version of stories, like ghost stories and horror stories, but it's not. This version feels a bit more mature as well, and I loved how they were able to capitalize on that. There's a lot of gross things that were going around. Now, the other episodes may have not been as impactful or powerful. There may have been stories that were a bit rushed, in my opinion, that felt a bit corny, that felt it lacked a bit of the execution or consistency in execution. But overall, I love the treatment, the dark quality to the storytelling so far. So far, again, I will emphasize, the last episode I saw was the sixth one. Now, that's what's interesting here. The first five were about each teenager. Like, they got an item or there was a story revolving around each one of them. The sixth was a flashback. So this is where things get interesting. Now, the release of these episodes in itself is interesting because you get the first five first. It was released, I think, October 13, and one drop lang siya, as in 5 episodes agad. And then you get one episode after that each week. So it'll be a total of 10 episodes. And it was kind of interesting how they did that. And it's something new for me na parang, okay, release 5 agad and then you have to follow a new episode every week. So even the last episode about Slappy was really nice. I think he is the iconic Goosebumps character. Something I have to say, disclaimer, if you're looking into watching Goosebumps and you feel like it's the Jack Black version or that movie version na ganong ka-kid-like yung atmosphere niya, it's not. There are things here that yun nga, may mental health issues then and things like that about grief. But I love how they touched on that. I love how they dealt with that. I love how they also dealt with indifference and bullying and all of these things. And it's interesting to see how they're going to move forward and what they're really going to do to wrap everything up. I don't know if they're planning multiple seasons, if they're gonna just end with this story for the first season or move on with another, or isang season lang siya. So far so good with this show. I mean, it's interesting, it's fun, it's entertaining, and I'm looking forward to seeing what more they do out of this particular content. So that's pretty much it for this first impressions. Again, this is my first impressions video. I'll also drop a full-on review pag tapos na lahat ng 10 episodes when they're dropped on Disney+. But for now, that's pretty much it for this video. Don't forget to make every day into an adventure. God bless, guys, and peace. Stay safe.